Hello, sixth graders. Welcome to our notes on digestion. I hope you guys have been doing well. It's been a little bit unique time, but hey, hope you guys are finding lots to do, lots of educational stuff. It is an opportunity just to get out and do stuff that we would not normally do. We are with this little guy right here. If you can see him popping in and out. Oh, he's getting shy now. That was Nathan. We're working on our basement and we're putting in another bedroom because, why not? So, notes on digestion, the digestive process. This is really, really cool stuff. And I'd like to start out with kind of a cool story. So, this guy that you see here, this is Alexis Saint Martin. And an interesting thing happened to him a long time ago. Oh, not supposed to touch my face. So sorry. Anyway, an interesting thing happened to him a long time ago. This is way back. This was when people were, trading furs and stuff like that. And this actually happened on Mackinac Island. Um, he had an accidental discharge of his musket, and he kind of shot himself in the stomach, which is not a very happy thing. Doctors did not think that he was going to make it through, but he did make it through. He ended up living, but his stomach healed in a unique way. Now, this is not his actual stomach or anything, but his stomach was open and the wound healed around where it should have. The skin adhered to the stomach instead of the stomach closing up. And so literally he kind of had a little window into his own stomach. Now this is accidental. This is not a good thing, but it happened. Doctors ended up wanting to know exactly what was in it, and his doctor mainly, they started doing experiments with him. They started like tying food to strings and putting it into his stomach for a while and then pulling it out later on and seeing how much it digested and what digests faster, fats or carbohydrates or meats and stuff like that. So I ended up doing a lot of experimentation on Alexis St. Martin. And, it was a bummer. I'm sure it was very painful for him, but we actually know a lot about what the digestive process does based on him because he accidentally shot himself with a musket. All right, so three functions of the digestive system. What does it do? The digestive system, it does three things. It breaks down food, it absorbs the molecules and the nutrients, and it eliminates waste. Now this last one, eliminates waste, that's one that we are going to be doing a little bit later. But these are the three things that it does. Now, in class, I have to say I would so much rather be in class with you guys because you guys have all kinds of wonderful, great questions. If you do have questions, go ahead and email me. I would much rather be in class because our discussions are just so fun about the questions that you guys come up with and your curiosity. So I'm a little bit bummed I can't be with you. But yeah, if you have questions, feel free to email me. All right. So digestion, two types, mechanical and chemical. Now you'll find out further on up early in the digestive process, that's where the mechanical digestion happens. And then lower on in the digestive process, that's where your chemical digestion actually ends up happening. Okay, so let's start at the very top. Start with your mouth. Now, your mouth has a huge amount for digestion. You have all of these different teeth up here. And chewing. Chewing is just mechanical digestion. Mechanical digestion is just when you are physically pulling apart, physically cutting food. Okay, now you got all kinds of stuff. These sharp little teeth in the very front. Feel the sharp teeth in the front of your mouth. Okay, my bottom ones are sharper than my top ones. I don't know if I'm normal or if that's what everyone is. Okay, but those are your incisors, and your incisors are for cutting your food. Okay, taking off bites. Okay, then further back you have canines, and I have huge canines. I don't know why. Big pointy canines. Take a look at your dog sometime, your cat too. They have big canines. That's for stabbing. That's for stabbing stuff, holding on to it, stuff like that. So you have your incisors in front, then your canines. Now, if you start moving further on back, move back with your tongue, feel it in your mouth, then you get these things. they're called premolars. They're a little bit flatter. They're on the top. They're, of course, all these are on the top and on the bottom too. They're flatter, but they're sharp. They have sharp edges on them, sharp edges on each side. Now, that's for two things. The edges are for cutting, but then the middle is for grinding. So you got the edges for cutting, the middle for grinding. And then way in the back, you have your molars. Your molars are very, very flat. That's just straight up for grinding food. Now, before, remember putting around that horse jaw, passing around that horse jaw? The horse jaw really only had incisors in the front, and then had a big space, and then it had some huge molars in the back. Because all horses have to do is cut the grass in the front, grind it up in the back. Okay? Yeah. Here's just a nice little picture. These are two teeth. This tooth right here is a mammoth tooth, one single mammoth tooth. And so that's how big the molars were in a mammoth. Mammoths were obviously herbivores. They only ate vegetables, grass, stuff like that. So if you see, I mean, it's so huge and so flat right there, okay? And this is a mastodon, not a mammoth, but a mastodon, a different type of thing. And this one's a whole lot more like a premolar. Once again, they're vegetarians, but they had these sharp little points on here as well. And all the surface in between there, I mean, that's all good grinding surface. All right? All right. So those are the teeth. Want to move on to the saliva, okay? Now your mouth watering. Whenever you start thinking about food, like personally, I just hear the word Doritos and I start thinking, I just start salivating all the time, okay? Famous Russian scientist, what was his name? Pavlov, I want to say. He did experiment with a dog where he would feed the dog and ring a bell. Feed the dog, ring a bell. Every day he would just do the same thing. And he found out that if he just started ringing the bell, he could get the dog to start salivating. It would start making saliva, okay? Now, what makes saliva? Your salivary glands. See these purple things here? Those are all salivary glands. You have three main salivary glands, okay? That makes your saliva. So what is saliva? It's fluid that gets released into your mouth. It contains enzymes, and we're going to be talking about enzymes in just a moment. But it contains enzymes to begin chemical digestion, start breaking stuff around, okay? Now, once again, your mouth, mechanical digestion, chemicals later on, especially saliva, stomach, small intestine, big time, a lot of chemical digestion going on there, okay? One thing that you can do if you want to, I can't because I have a nasty gag reflex, but if you take a cracker, if you take a saltine cracker and just start sucking on it and you don't chew it, you just suck on it. What's going to happen is the saliva, the enzymes in your saliva, will start breaking down the starches. And the starches are big, long chains of sugars, all connected together. It'll start breaking it down into individual sugars, and you'll start just tasting just straight up sugar if you can suck on the saltine cracker long enough, okay? I can't, it just grosses me out. I get a gag reflex. I can't handle it, but it's kind of fun to do, and I've had kids do it before, and they did it. I have had kids try it with a piece of bread, and they said it worked with a piece of bread as well. If you just suck on it long enough, it just starts tasting sweet, starts tasting like sugar. So go ahead, if you have the guts or the lack of a gag reflex to do that, go ahead and try it. Pause the video and go for it, okay? If I'm going too fast for the notes, just use the pause button. That's going to help you a lot, okay? All right, now we have enzymes. I've been talking just a little bit about different things that are going on, stuff in your saliva, and you have enzymes. This word you don't need to know, but amylase. Amylase is the specific enzyme that you do have in your mouth, okay? That starts breaking down the sugars. Now, an enzyme. What's an enzyme? It's anything that breaks stuff down without being changed themselves. Now, they're generally made out of proteins, okay? Here's a nice little diagram going on. You have your nice little enzyme right here. You have a substrate. Now in the saltine cracker thing, the substrate, that would be a starch. A starch goes in, and then the enzyme, it physically changes shape and it breaks stuff apart and then releases the things, okay? So most enzymes in digestion is going to break stuff down. You can have enzymes that actually put stuff together as well, but we're talking about digestion, so our enzymes are going to be breaking stuff down. There's going to be an enzyme coming up later that's called pepsin as well, okay? So enzymes, what do? They break stuff down. You have enzymes in your saliva. All right, now moving on here, you got the esophagus. Now, the esophagus is the tube that connects the mouth to the stomach. So right here, boom, comes all the way down, goes to the stomach. Now, the esophagus is the one further in the back. You can see right here, there's another tube in the front, okay? Now, the tube in the front, that is actually called the trachea, okay? That one goes to your lungs. And you have a tube, your esophagus, that goes to your stomach back there. Okay? All right. Now, how do we actually swallow? We'll do this, and then I'm going to have to cut this off because Screencast-O-Matic will only allow me to record for 15 minutes. All right? So how do you swallow? Once again, we got a great demonstration, great animation here. We have peristalsis, okay? Now, what's peristalsis? Peristalsis is when smooth muscles, they contract, and they contract in a rhythmic way to push stuff down a tube. Think of if you had a flexible tube and you squeezed it, and you had something in there, think of like a golf ball or something like that, and if you squeeze it just right, you could actually push the golf ball through the tube just by squeezing, okay? Peristalsis, the contraction of smooth muscles to push through the digestive system. It's happening in your esophagus, and it's happening in your small intestines as well. Now, once it comes back, you can see the trachea right there, and you can see the muscles. They're contracting, contracting, contracting to push the food through it. Okay? We're going to start with the epiglottis on part 2 of this video. Thank you so much.